We're 7 games into the season. Some teams are overachieving, some teams are underachieving, some teams are exactly where you expect them to be. But today we're going to look at the squad costs and see just who is doing well and see who's absolutely failing. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. The Daily Record have compiled the entire list of squad values from the Scottish Premiership. They have ranked all the teams in order from bottom to top in terms of their squad values. So I thought we would look at this and see what order the clubs are in and see if that's the order they currently occupy in the league, because the title here says comparing every Scottish Premiership squad cost as Celtic and Rangers argument blown away, money table revealed. Now, I'm assuming this is a shot at Celtic and Rangers using money as an excuse for getting beat in Europe. And, well, you can argue it is an excuse. However, I can also see that if a team does spend more money, then they are legitimately going to be better. That's kind of how it works. If you're spending more money, if your squad is worth 3, 4, 5 times the amount of somebody else, then I think it's only fair to expect that team to be better. But anyway, we're going to look at the list. We're going to see who is worth what, and we're going to see who's top and who's bottom. Let's go and do it. Alright, so the lowest value squad in the league is actually St Johnstone, a reported 300,000. Now, I believe this is on money spent. So when you look at the current St Johnstone squad, in terms of how much money they've spent on this squad, it's 300,000. So it's not the actual value, what the squad would be worth if they sold every player. It's the value of the money that the club has actually spent on assembling the squad. So St Johnstone coming in at 300,000 apparently, which is shocking when you think about it. No way. We're all tipping, no wonder we're all tipping St Johnstone to get relegated when you're only spending 300,000. Really, really poor. Motherwell then in 11th with 350,000. Stamp is obviously scoring goals and he's getting talked about, but he cost around 250,000. And Callum Slattery is the only other player in the Welsh squad who costs fees. So apparently, according to the Daily Record, the only 2 players that cost money for Motherwell were Callum Slattery and their new summer signing, Stamp. I'm not going to pronounce his full name because I don't want to botch it, so there you go. Motherwell, 350k. St Mirren, 400k. Again, it just seems to be their players have been mainly made up, their team's been mainly made up of like free transfers, so it is what it is, just not a lot of money being spent here. But Ross County, 500,000. One of their biggest signings was Victor Lotori, who at 75k remains their most expensive recorded investment. Jesus, there's just no money in Scottish football, is there? Ross County, when their biggest spend is 75k. But Dundee, up next here, they brought in Billy Colometto for 300,000 from Liverpool. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Simon Murray also brought in for a fee around the region of 250,000. So again, that looks to be the only players that Dundee have brought in that cost money. According to Daily Record, this is Daily Record, guys, it's not me. I'm just going by what they're saying. We then got Kilmarnock in up next. It's 600k. Robin McCrory and Corey Ndaba were the only money signs for Derek McInnes this summer. Both 6-figure investments, but neither likely to be sky high. So, I mean, I'm assuming this is, maybe this is it overall or is it just this season? I'm not too sure. Surely that's way too low. That must be way too low though, to be every player that they've got in their squad. But according to the article, that's what it says. Dundee United 900,000. Richard Odaba and Jork van der Sand are the only recorded transfers expenses for United after a busy summer, and they cost around 850,000. So, yeah, and it looks like that they have to put out a fee for Declan Gallagher after he joined for St Mirren, after he plays 40 time. Looks like there's some sort of compensation deal, and apparently Dundee United have already paid that, and it was around 50k, so Dundee United at 900,000. Hibs 2.2, biggest signing has been Kieran Bowie at 600k. As far as other fees go spent, you got Johan at 500, Dylan Levitt at 300. So, alright, okay, so it's actually counting the entire team then. So it's not just counting this summer, it's counting the entire team. They've got players that are made up of... I mean, Hibs have spent a wee bit of money, but you can definitely see the jump here. You go from, like... I always argued Dundee United are the 6th biggest club in Scotland, and the fact that they have the 6th biggest value in terms of squad, that might prove that. Hearts then in 4th place with 3 million. Obviously brought in the likes of Jan Danda, Blair Spittle, James Penrice. They came in Bosman deals. They did spend money on Boateng and Fargus, and they paid 400,000 to sign Lawrence Shankland back in 2022. So, yeah, it is counting the entire squad. So, it just goes to show you that these teams really have not been put together with much money. Yeah, there might be some good players that are, valued at decent amounts, but in terms of how much these clubs actually paid to bring in these players, not a lot at all. So, let's move on to Aberdeen, 4.7, according to Daily Record. Keskiken, 850k, Nilsson, 350k, Papagay, 500,000. So, I mean, there you go. I'm trying to think of other players that would make up to the 4.7. You've got Leighton Clarkson, I believe. There was roughly £1 million spent on him. Duke, I think there was like 400,000 spent on him as well. So, yeah, Aberdeen then with the 3rd highest spend in the league at 4.7 million. We then move on to Rangers with 21.6 million. As Philippe Clement made abundantly clear, Rangers didn't have as much cash to splash in the summer, yet they still brought in Nadim Barami on deadline day, who cost more than the entire squads of 9 Premiership rivals. It was a busy window with 9 new faces coming in, while they also spent to make Mohamed Diomandé's loan permanent. So far, it's not exactly translated, as they sit 5 points off the top 2. But that's not a lot of money for a Rangers team. 21.6 million isn't really that much. Not for a team that is as big as Rangers, but it is what it is. And then in first place, we have Celtic with 69.3 million. That's almost as much as the so-called war chest. So, to the delight of fans, Celtic loosened the purse strings this summer and reinvested the chunky end of Matt O'Reilly's club record fee back into the squad. In came Arnie Engels, 11 million, Austin Trusty, 6 million, and some others, touching 70 million. This is one of the most expensively put together Celtic teams in recent years. So far, it's translated domestically, with their perfect record still intact, but not so much in Europe, where they were thrashed 7-1 by Dortmund. Finding a way to close that chance completely, at least, is one of the most defining challenges facing Brendan Rodgers at Celtic. So, 69.3 million, a lot of money there that Celtic have spent to accumulate the squad. And when you add up all the players, that does seem about right. Think about it. When you add up all Celtic's players, I reckon you would get to about 69.3 million. You also got to factor in Ida in there as well. He cost a lot of money. So, definitely Celtic then easily the highest, valued squad in the league right now. And we always say how Celtic are so much better than Rangers. Is it any surprise? Celtic spending 69.3 million, Rangers 21.6. So Celtic's squad is valued at over 3 times the amount of Rangers. So when Celtic are beating Rangers by like 3-0, is it really surprising when you factor in that they have a squad over 3 times the amount? Probably not. Just like when Dortmund, when they beat Celtic, is it really surprising? I mean, probably not. When Lyon beat Rangers, is it really surprising? Probably not. Just like it's not surprising when Celtic beat St Johnstone by 6-0. So, yeah, that's the dilemma that the old firm clubs have. Domestically, they're spending a lot more money than their rivals that are below them. But when it comes to Europe, then they become the so-called minnows. They become the teams that don't spend as much as their opponents. And, more often than not, they tend to be on the losing end of some big defeats. But anyway, guys, that's it. Just a wee article here for Daily Record. Just wanted to look at the squad comparisons. I'm not going to be sad and add them all up and see if it's exactly correct, because that would be sad and that would take a lot of time. But from what I've seen here, I mean, they do kind of seem to be roughly accurate, and I'd say that's about right. Celtic 3 times the amount of Rangers. If you look at Celtic squad and you look at Rangers' squad, I'd say Celtic overspending by Rangers to 3 times the amount. That seems about right to me. So, there you go. That's it, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. I'll catch you in the next one. Beanfog Football. Peace.